Yo, what up? I'm going to be doing the breakdown for the Dana White Contender Series video on here. But first, I just want to talk about UFC 239, a little bit about this upcoming week with the channel. And, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to put out the Sacramento card today. This is the first time I haven't put out a card or a video on a Monday for a card on a Saturday in a long time, which I'm kind of, mad about. But I did International Fight Week last week, all over the weekend, did a bunch of stuff, went to Joe Rogan. It was pretty cool, man. Went to the event. It was a lot of fun, but, I wasn't able to watch as many fights as I usually do, so I'm going to probably have to put that on a Wednesday, maybe tomorrow, but most likely on Wednesday, and then we'll get back to Mondays after that. But, yeah, so I kind of apologize for that. But, yeah, man, UFC 239 was good. It was really fun. A lot of people there at the event, really loud. And, I would say probably the loudest it got was when Masvidal had that baptism on Ben Askren. That was crazy, man. 5 seconds, new UFC record for fast knockout. You got to give. That was amazing. That was really cool. I got to rewatch that Jones fight because in the arena, I was thinking he won 4-1, but then I see a lot of people saying it was a lot closer to that. So, maybe I got to rewatch that and see what I think. But, I thought Jones won that fight, to be honest with you. Nunes looked, she knocked out Holly Holm with her own move, man. That was pretty cool. Jan, big knockout on Luke Rockhold. that was nasty. Great job there by Jano. And, Diego losing Chiesa. Chiesa was just too big, man. He kept hitting those switches, and Diego was trying hard, but I don't know. I thought Diego was going to bring a little bit more fire in that fight, but, at least he didn't get, brutally knocked out. He didn't get beat up too bad, so, good on Diego for going in there, but big win there for Chiesa, and, he should probably get a top 15 opponent next. And then Allen against Melendez. We got those two wrong with Sanchez and Melendez here, but Gil, he didn't look as good as he did even when he fought Stevens, man. He was a little bit slower in there. It seemed like Arnold Allen was just much faster, and Gilbert was missing really wide on all of his punches. He wasn't even close, and kind of hard to see, but I think that Gilbert maybe should, think about hanging him up, unfortunately. But big win there for Arnold Allen, name value-wise, and 6-0 in the UFC, so definitely should be getting a big name next there for Arnold Allen. Cheeto Vera, you got it done. Part of the Parlay of the Week for us. We hit another Parlay of the Week, which is pretty good, on the post-weigh-in breakdown video. That's 5 consecutive weeks, so hopefully we could, keep that up. And, with Yadong Song, got the big knockout. Claudia versus Randa, good win there by Claudia. Kind of boring fight a little bit, but Edmund, I was saying that could potentially be a closer fight than it was, but Edmund went out there, dominated that, so good on Edmund. And another fight I was kind of saying that I thought was a lot closer than the line was Chance Rencounter versus Nardiev. And Rencounter was actually able to go out there and, take down Ishmael at will and dominate the fight. So good job by, Rencounter. You got a big win there. And then up next with Avila against Pani. Avila got the win there. So overall, we did pretty good on the card. We hit on the Parlay of the Week again. So, we're going to be looking to build on that 5 weeks in a row, get another week in a row right here on the Dana White Contender Series, and then on Saturdays. So, the first fight of the night, Jonathan Pearce against Jacob Rosales. And, I couldn't find a ton of footage on Jonathan Pearce, but he looks like a scrappy guy. He's fighting out of a very good gym, which fits his style in the MMA lab, and he doesn't seem super technical, but he likes to come forward. He'll throw down, and he throws a lot of volume. He has decent straight punches, but really has really powerful hooks and overhands, big power. He could change the fight with one shot, and he's always going to be moving forward, pushing the pace. His defense is not good. He's very hittable. He'll just plod forward, kind of like a zombie. He has a good chin. He'll take one to give one. He'll throw knees up the middle, head kicks, front kicks to the face. He is, wild man. He's an indomitable spirit. He looks extremely strong. He'll really manhandle opponents, and that's where, his bread and butter is in the grappling. When he gets his hands connected, he gets big slams. He throws fighters around like rag dolls, and on top he has really good ground and pound. He looks to finish the fight. He's very aggressive. He likes to get that wrestling ride position on the back. Good control there. He doesn't look for submissions much. Instead, he just beats people up, and he has 4 KO TKOs. He's never been KO'd. He has been submitted twice. He just has 1 submission himself. And the most impressive thing about Pearce, are, his pace, his heart. He has awesome cardio, and he just has that will to win. He definitely is the type of guy Dana's looking to put on the show. But for Jacob Rosales, he's won 4 consecutive fights, and he's a boxer. He stays technical, and in this fight, I see him trying to stick and move. He does have pretty decent footwork. He circles off the cage well, but he does get flat-footed at times, and that's not going to do him any favors here. He does have a good jab, left hook. He likes to throw a straight right hand, and he likes to throw that straight right hand when his opponents are back against the fence to try to get him square where he could throw longer combinations. He will throw a spinning back fist when he backs opponents to the cage as well. And when he goes forward, he'll put hooks and uppercuts in combination. He looks to have pop, but maybe not KO power. And he doesn't like being hit or pressured much. He does look to have, improved his footwork and ability to control the center from what I've seen. But I think Pearce will back him up. I think Pearce hits harder. Rosales, he can get flat-footed in there. And, I think that when he starts to feel the pressure, he tries to duck under for doubles, for body locks. And, Pearce, I have seen him get taken down and controlled. He has been submitted a couple times, but Rosales doesn't have as good a top game. He's not the best with his top control. And I don't see him being able to hold down Pearce. He does look to have a solid takedown defense. He will counter with guillotines. You have to be wary of that, but he doesn't have the same strength of Pearce, and if they clinch up, I think Pearce is going to be the much stronger guy. I think Rosales needs to stick and move, stay technical, try to beat up Pearce as he tries to get inside. He does have the better, faster hand combinations, but he is hittable himself, and I don't know if his power could keep Pearce off of him. He has 5 knockouts. He's never been finished, and I've seen him rocked pretty badly, though, in a couple fights, like versus Darion Chapman. But he has 2 guillotines, and he has, 2 submissions in his last 3 fights. I see Rosales as the favorite, and, I get it, but I'm going with Jonathan Pearce here. Rosales is more technical, but there's something about, a dog with extreme physicality, and I think Pearce is going to be willing to go through the fire here to take Rosales out, and if he gets his hands on him, he's going to take him for a ride. I think Pearce will be putting the pressure on him, getting hit, but giving his own and hurting Rosales. I see him hurting him with the shot, getting in on the legs, getting the takedown, and starting to beat him up. And I'm going to say Pearce breaks his will in this fight and gets a TKO in round 2. Rosales has never been knocked out, but I'm going to say Pearce is going to be the first guy to do it. So I'm going with the upset here and going with Jonathan Pearce. And up next here we have Maki Pitolo taking on Justin Sumter. And, Maki Pitolo, he looks good. He's a big athletic guy. He is fighting at 170 in a lot of fights, and he looks like he has a solid size advantage there. But now he's coming up to 185s, and he's going to be significantly smaller, so that's going to be a new thing for him to encounter. But, he is the main training partner of Max Holloway, so he has a lot of experience against a high-level opponent, and he likes to come forward with a wide stance and box. Really good jab, both to the body and the head. He'll throw a very nice, tight 1-2s down the middle. Excellent left hook. And he's good at just touching opponents with jabs, short hooks, and then mixing in power shots. Sometimes fighters can land hooks or overhands to counter his jab. And he can get clipped. When he's forced to move backwards, he can get clipped as well. Pitolo will turn up with long combinations when he finds his range. And he's excellent at using good shot selection. He'll attack the body, has excellent uppercut hook combinations. He'll mix in spinning back fists, flying knees, elbows, and really dynamic when he can back opponents near the cage. He can get hurt himself, but I wouldn't say he has a bad chin. I wouldn't say he has bad cardio either because he throws so much volume, but he does slow down a bit late in round 2 and the 3rd round as well. And he did have a very good back and forth fight with Cisneros and Bellator in his last fight. He was able to largely dominate, but he took some shots. He got it to the mat in round 3. He got the rear naked choke eventually, but he has decent single and double leg takedowns. He's explosive, very good at taking the back, and he really only looks for that when he gets on top. He isn't really vicious with his ground and pound or anything else. He just looks for the back. He can get chucked off the back, though, and he ends up on his own back, but he has good control there usually. And when he fought Dakota Cochran, he was dominating the fight. He took the back multiple times, but he was reversed and guillotined. And he has 4 KO TKOs, and he has been finished twice by knockout. I would say he definitely has fight-changing power in his hands. And he has 3 submissions. He has been submitted twice. And he has been finished in all 4 of his losses. Justin Sumter, he's trying to make his second appearance on the Dana White Contender Series a better one here. He fought one of the best fighters in Dana White Contender Series history in Ian Heinisch. And, Ian Heinisch has taken the UFC by storm a little bit. But Sumter was knocked out pretty viciously with ground and pound elbows in round 1. He did have a decent start. He took the back, but he got reversed and knocked out. Sumter is 6'2". He's going to have a 4.5-inch reach advantage. And he's also a southpaw, so he has some things going for him here. He stays long. He has a pretty good 1-2, good uppercuts, strong wrestling base. He's athletic. He likes to walk opponents down, but try to stay at his range. Throw hard round kicks to the legs, to the body, to the head. Nice straight left hand, good left hook. The problem with Sumter striking is that he throws a lot of things in close range wide, similar to kind of like Alton Cunningham, like what I said about him. And fighters with tighter, straighter punches like Maki can counter him hard. And he's also heavy on his lead leg, susceptible to leg kicks, which I think Maki could exploit as well. He was dropped very badly in his last fight. He almost got knocked out cold, but he was able to survive. He won, which, was impressive. And good mentality as well to not break. He was able to get it to the ground in the second round and get the finish. But that's a lot of damage he's taken in his last 2 fights. He can't have the greatest chin anymore. And, Sumter was knocked out in his last 2 losses. He will throw, occasional flying knees, athletic movements, but his striking isn't on the same level as Pitolo, in my opinion. He's going to want to get this fight to the ground, I think, and he's going to be looking to catch the kicks or take him down by just shooting traditional single legs. He has a good body lock takedown against the cage as well, and his size is going to help him in the clinch if they do clinch up there. He has good knees, good elbows. And when he gets on top, he's able to use his size well to control people. He'll get that cross body from half guard, and, he's good at taking the back. He, has won his last match by neck crank on the back. His 3 submission wins with that one, if all came on the back. 2 rear naked chokes in that neck crank. And Sumter did have, like I said, excellent heart in his last fight, good cardio, and, he's confident. He said his new mentality is going to get him a contract here. But I think Pitolo, I think he's going to find that chin and get the knockout. I think Pitolo's going to be looking for leg kicks, straight punches, forward pressure. I think he's going to force Sumter to trade and catch him and knock him out. He just has to avoid the takedowns, and I think he should win the fight if he can get inside. Sumter's going to be trying to use his kicks, use his reach to keep him on the outside and then clinch up, get the takedown, I think. Sumter could have success with his striking, but I think Pitolo is going to make him weary with his power and be the one going forward. And I'm going to say Maki gets the takedown or gets the KO in round 2. Maybe with ground and pound, but I think it'll probably be with strikes from standing. But I'm going to go with Maki Pitolo by KO TKO in round 2. And up next here, this is a sick fight with Chris Ocon against Hunter Azure. And, Hunter Azure is also fighting out of the MMA lab, and he's 6-0 with 4 finishes. He's yet to fight anyone with a great record, and this should be the hardest fight for both guys. Chris Ocon, he's 4-0, but he also hasn't fought anyone good. This is a striker versus grappler matchup with, the 4-time Montana State wrestling champion in Azure. He also went on to wrestle at Montana University. And Azar is a killer, man. He's extremely aggressive. He's a finisher. He's super intense. He won't touch gloves. He isn't playing games in there. His eyes are on a mission, man. He's, on the mission ahead. It's just seek and destroy. You can just see that he's just super, super locked in. His striking, is crazy. It's frenetic, but it's not terrible. Fighters always know that takedown shots are coming, so they have to be wary when he fakes the shot. And he's always, feinting, moving. He's pretty athletic. He will, feint the takedown, come up with stinging jabs, which are very fast, and he hits hard. He kind of reminds me a little bit of, like, Merab, man, like Merab Divashvili. But he'll do the same with big overhands, with hooks. He can put fighters down with one shot, and he's definitely the fighter with more one-punch power, but he's not as precise as Okan. He's definitely not as good a striker. He doesn't throw kicks much, but when he does throw with his kicks, he'll throw full power. He has finished a recent fight with a body kick. But his grappling is where it's at, though, man. He has very strong singles and doubles. When he gets in on the legs, he's relentless, going for the takedown in top position. He's very good. He's aggressive with ground and pound. He'll transition to the mount, the back. He has a good rear naked choke. And, he's more worried about ground and pound than the submissions, though, usually. And for Chris Okan, he's also a very good fighter. He has more of a wide stance, but he's fast in and out. He has good forward pressure. His movement is nice. He did get his leg chopped down pretty well in his last fight, and he needs to address that. But he has fast in and out movement. He can close the distance well with his straight punches, and his hands are accurate. He's also good at denying takedowns. He'll attack the body, the head with 1-2s. He'll mix in those hooks, those uppercuts when he gets at close range. He has good kicks. And just pure striking-wise, if Okan can get his range and start to try to keep Azure on the outside, I think that's how he's going to be able to win the fight, but I think it's going to be tough. Okan does have strong takedown defense. He's going to have to rely on that here. He sprawls heavy. He'll circle to the back, try to get rear nakeds. He has good switches, and when he does get taken down, he's good at popping right back up. In his last fight, it was 5 rounds, and he showed great heart. It was, the toughest opponent he's ever fought. He had his leg hurt very badly. He was almost choked out a couple times. But, he needed the 5th round to win, and he won the 5th round. He was able to deny the takedown, get in top position, and win the round, ride it out. When he gets top position, he has good ground and pound, and overall, both these guys are very good. I think Azure just has more experience, has the dominant skill that I think will rule the day, which is the wrestling. I see him being able to jam Okan, make him fight moving backwards. See him trying to use his feints to land his punches early, open up his takedowns. And when he gets on top, I see him winning there. I think that he may incorporate leg kicks. If he watched Okan's last fight and saw that, weakness there. And, this fight could go either way. I think the line value might be on Okan, but I'm going to pick, the wrestler and Azure to get the 3rd round finish or the decision. So my pick's going to be Hunter Azure to get the win there. And up next here I have Antonio Ciccoli taking on Kenneth Bergh. And for Antonio, I wasn't able to see his recent fights since when he moved up to 205. He is 6'5" with the 82-inch reach. So don't really know how he was making 170. He fought at 170. He fought at 185. But think he's probably definitely better suited for 205 here. But I wasn't too impressed with him. He's tall. He's very aggressive. There's no feeling out process with him. He closes the distance with straight punches. And he wants to get takedowns. I mean, he has average wrestling, but when he's fought good grapplers, guys like Jacob Volkman, he got dominated in that fight. He's lost to a lot of the big-name guys that he's fought, like Diego Lima, Volkman. And he kind of reminds me of, like, Jason Gonzalez. Very aggressive. Will try to grapple a little bit, but he has bad takedown defense himself. He will look for front chokes, but if he doesn't get him, he'll end up on his back. And he's always open to be hit on the feet. He really pushes the wrestling. If you can get on top of him, he doesn't have much off of his back if you pass his guard. Bergh, to me, is definitely going to be the more physical, stronger fighter, the bigger man. And Bergh, to me, is a better striker. I don't see him letting Antonio bully him. And if he could just stay technical, use his kicks on the outside, get inside, I think he's going to maybe have an advantage in close range. Bergh also has a very good guillotine. He has a lot of faith in it. He'll pull guard with the guillotine. He has a great squeeze. And Antonio can't leave his neck out there when he's trying to go for takedowns because Bergh will take it home with him. But when Bergh did fight Eric Spicely on Tough 23, he was taken down, literally right away. He tried to scramble back up to his feet. He gave his back and got submitted. I wasn't too unimpressed with Bergh's ground game on his back, though. He was scrambling well, but Spicely is a black belt. And, in this fight, though, Bergh should be able to grapple this dude up. Chipotle has a long reach, but he doesn't use it. He prefers to crash and grapple. And Bergh is a very strong dude, man. I've seen Jacob Volkman, a 170-pounder, dominate, hold down Chipotle. And, if Volkman could do that, even though Volkman's a better wrestler than Bergh should feel like a boulder on top of him, man. So Bergh has won his last 5 fights by submission. He has 1 TKO. And the thing about this fight that's keeping me away from playing Bergh is the line's off for 1, in my opinion. I think he's too big of a favorite, and he's been off for 2 years. In reality, though, Bergh should get takedowns, probably finish the fight by submission. Chipotle likes to bully fighters. Don't see him bullying Bergh here, and I'm going to go with Kenneth Bergh via second-round submission here. And up next here, we're down to the last fight on the card with James Wallace against Joseph Solecki. And I wasn't super impressed with James Wallace. He looks a bit of a wild open striker. He uses his punches, crash the distance. He'll throw solid 1-2s. He'll throw, 1-2 to an uppercut combination. But he holds his hands low. He tries to use a lot of body and head movement to slip and rip. But he's very hittable. He's open to me to be hit himself. And he likes to use punches to clinch up, push opponents to the cage. And that's where he does have some decent body locks, some good double legs. But, his takedowns in space overall aren't amazing. He'll shoot from too far out and end up on his back at times. And he lacks the physicality to drive through. When he is on the ground, though, he's very aggressive, going for submissions. He'll try to quickly transition to the mount or the back. He's good at getting both hooks in, flattening opponents out, landing decent punches in that area. And the thing is, his back control, top control are not very good. He will get reversed very often. He'll try to set up triangles and arm bars off his back. I've seen him get some belly down arm bars, some triangles, but a little bit sloppy. When he ends up on his back, opponents can beat him up there. They can control him from top position. You always have to be aware that he'll throw up the submissions, but he has no urgency to get up off his back usually. And doesn't seem to have good cardio. And, he will push in the third round if he sees an opponent fading. He also seems like a tough guy, but, I don't know. I'm not super impressed with him. He has finished all of his wins, and he's 0-2 in decisions. When he fights, he kind of doesn't seem to care about points at all. It's just about looking for the finish. And, he kind of treats it like a jiu-jitsu match. Even if he goes for the submission and he ends up on his back, he's willing to do that. And he has finished his last 4 fights. He has 7 submissions, 2 TKOs. He's never been finished. But for Joseph Solecki, he's fought almost all of his fights in CFFC, Cage Fury Fighting Championships up there in Philadelphia. And Solecki's a strong black belt. He has, grappled the who's who in jiu-jitsu. Guys like Gary Tonin. He's grappled UFC veteran Jordan Rinaldi. Submitted him very quickly with a guillotine. And Solecki has decent striking, but really couldn't find many of his MMA fights. He does have a good double leg. He's a much better grappler than Wallace, who Wallace likes to grapple, so it's a good matchup here for Joseph Solecki. He, is a great guard passer. He'll move to the back. He has excellent rear nakeds, 4 rear naked chokes in his career. Very good guillotine, very good triangle off of his back. He's very good as well. He can get the submission off his back on Wallace, most likely. Solecki won his first decision in his last fight. He has 6 submissions in his 7 wins. And Solecki has been knocked out 1 time by Nicholas Moda. And he lost 1 decision. But I just don't think Wallace is composed enough on the feet to have a game plan to keep it up and be pinpoint with his striking. I think that this is going to hit the mat, and I see Solecki just being dominant there. Solecki's a black belt. I think Solecki's going to get the submission, probably a rear naked choke, and I think it'll probably happen early in the first round. So I'm going with Joseph Solecki to get it done there and to get a big win on the Day One Contender Series and maybe get a contract here. And for the parlay of the week on this card, actually, we'll just give you one play as, or actually, I'll do a parlay of the week with Joseph Solecki and Jonathan Pearce. But, Pearce is already an underdog, so, if you're just going to play Pearce straight up, that might be the better play there. But the parlay will, deem a little bit better odds there for you. But, don't trust Kenneth Bergh as such a big favorite. If you're going to bet on that fight, bet on Chikoli more than likely. Hunter Azure, I think he's going to win, but I just don't like that line, minus 240. I think that the fights should be a little bit closer than that. I think that maybe minus 155, that type of range. Then you could maybe talk myself into a bet for Azure, but at minus 240, the value there is on Chris Ocon. I probably won't bet on Ocon, though. With Maki Pitolo plus 120, do like that line there. I like the value, and I think that Pitolo is going to get it done, so I am probably going to play Pitolo as well as playing Jonathan Pearce. Both of them are plus 120 underdogs. So, if I would do any plays on this card, it'll probably be, a moderate play on Joseph Solecki, maybe a small play on that parlay that I gave you guys, and then a play on Pitolo and Jonathan Pearce. So, that's going to be most likely what I'm going to do for this card. So, thanks for watching. I'll get the Sacramento card out, the video for it out as soon as I can. And, stay plugged in, comment, like, subscribe. Tell me who you're picking for this card. Tell me if you did good on 239, who you're picking for Sacramento. Really pumped to keep going, keep the momentum going, and we're going to, have a great end of the year. So, this is only the beginning of the streak, and let's keep it going. Let's do it. Let's have fun. Watch the Day One Contender Series on Tuesday.